We're just getting here. Oh, there we go. All right, and then I'm going to connect to Facebook Live here too. Okay, cool. I'm just going to adjust you guys. How you guys doing? Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, today we're here with Donny West, the one and only, the man behind the mystery. And then I'm going to go live here too. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, 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 friends. Welcome to the Artist Journey podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hope you guys are having a great day. And we are here today with the one and only Mr. Donny West.
Hello.
Okay, so we're just going to take a moment here to make sure all of our feeds are running and everything. Donny, you having a good day?
I am having a beautiful day. I'm with my two best guys. Hello. You can't go wrong there, right?
Yeah, right. So let's see. I'm just gonna make sure this guy is going, and we are set to go. We're streaming from a lot of different platforms today, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, Donny's just. Donny's just like, what are these guys up to? What's the deal with these guys? And we got, of course, my co-host Landyn Banx here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining us this very special edition of the Artist Journey podcast, where we get to interview my dear friend, the talented jack of all trades artist, Mr. Donny West.
Well, thank you. Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on this beautiful sunny day in Minnesota.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Why don't you let us know about you? Introduce yourself, who you are,
Well,
what you do.
Okay. Well, I could probably take a real long time, but I won't. I go back probably a few years. I don't want to give away my age. But actually, I started out as entertainer, female impersonator in Minneapolis. My specialty, I impersonated Diana Ross for a number of years, and then I went into other characters. From that, I decided I wanted to broaden my horizon, so I started recording. I've actually always been singing all of my life, but I decided to record a CD, which I recorded my first CD, and I entitled it Dear Lover.
Ooh, Dear Lover.
Dear lover.
And the reason for that was just the fact that I'm a loving person, and love is my life, you know, family, friends, and people I met along the way.
Puppy dogs too.
And my babies, I love my puppy dogs. But anyway, I went from recording, and then I decided I wanted to, well, actually, I wrote a book, and that was to do with my life as a female impersonator. But of course, I started with talking about my childhood and my family and growing up. And then
And he signed mine. He signed my copy.
so yes, he will keep that.
You can't have it. It's mine.
But if you want to
Mine is
sign
at
one,
home.
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to sign one, I can surely get you one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, I wrote the book, and I was invited to appear. Then I went into acting, and I appeared on a show called Josh and Sandy. And anyway, they had me in the pilot, and as we filmed the pilot, I got to know a lot of the actors and the staff and the crew, and many of them purchased my book. And the writer, producer, director, Josh Margolis, give you a shout out, read my book, and he made a comment that he thought my book would make a wonderful documentary one day. And I sort of took his word, or I just took it up to have a documentary filmed about my life and my career and my family and just all sorts of stories. And henceforth, we did the documentary, which is
Dazzle, the Donny West story.
Yeah.
Ooh. We
And-
watched that last night. That was fun.
We did.
Yeah,
It was very
It's a
fun.
fantastic documentary.
What was your favorite part?
You, and more of you.
Okay, I'll take that.
I just thought the way that you interacted with your family actually was
Okay.
really, really interesting to me.
Yeah.
To see where you come from
Right.
in Kansas, Missouri,
Yeah.
and where you grew up, and seeing your
Yeah.
grandmother's house and
Yeah.
all of
Oh.
that. So
Yeah.
You paid attention.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, family is important to me.
Yeah.
Of course, my family, my brothers and sisters, my cousins, my extended family, we're all very close. We've been, and still to this day. And so one good thing, my family did a reunion every 4 years.
That's
So
amazing.
I made, and it's nice because we stick together, of course we grow too. So, I probably have so many family members that I probably don't know that well,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, we stay close. My father was one of 13 kids, which is a big family
Yes.
back then.
Wow.
And
And
One
now.
of 13. Holy monkeys.
And I remember hearing when my grandmother passed away that she had 65 grandkids. So
Wow.
that means I had 60 something, 50 something cousins.
Wow.
And a lot of us are very close to this day,
That's awesome. Because I
yeah.
had 2 first cousins.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah, it's just funny how it's funny how lives are. Back then I always thought my grandmother, family was important, and they didn't have birth control, or they probably did, but she didn't know about it. So
That's my excuse too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got babies in every country.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Woo,
wow.
woo, we're getting real into
We're
it.
taking this a different direction.
I'm sorry, Donnie. I'm just kidding. Go
No,
ahead.
that's- Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So that's where I come from, and part of my history as far as being an entertainer, and not only that I have a big family, but I have family members that are obviously in show business or some sort of show business, recording artist. My first cousin, James Fuzzy West, give him a shout out. He's a singer. He also has a few CDs out. He's actually sung in church all his life. And then I have other cousins, I won't get into naming them all, but
And your brother, Kevin
my
West.
brother, Kevin West, give you a shout out. He's an actor. And of course, other family members. And then I have a couple that I thought should be in show business or singers, and I'm talking siblings that never took up that. So.
And
Awesome.
Landyn and I were watching your documentary last night, and Landyn had mentioned that your name originally wasn't West. Is that correct?
Right. Oh, okay. I'll give you a little history. My mother, my father were high school sweethearts. In fact, my mother was very young. I think she was 15, maybe 14 when she met my dad. And of course, they had me. And my mother was, I believe, 16 when I came along. Of course, then they got married.
Same as my mom, 16, yes.
Yeah, very young. Well, then, when you think about that era too, a lot of families, that we talk about the shotgun weddings, and
Yep.
a lot of
That was my.
a lot of people marry their kids off young. So you hear of kids being married at 14, 15, maybe even younger in some cases. But my mother and father, of course, had me when my mom was 16, my dad was 19. Which right then that tells you that there's some, illegal. Well, anyway, we won't get into that. But
Don't do the math.
but yeah, then my mom and dad were married, and then let's see, five siblings came along after that. I was an only child till I was 5, and
So you're the oldest then?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the oldest.
wow.
And my brother Ron came along, and then I thought, oh God, I gotta share.
No more,
No.
please. And
Just
4 more
kidding.
after that.
Just kidding,
Oh
Ron.
my gosh.
But yeah, so, and then there was, ended up being 6 of us. And then I just found out my father, well, my mother and father separated probably, oh gosh, well, they separated anyway. And so we found out, I had been given a picture of a little baby, 6-month-old baby. And it said on the back, Brian West. And then I was told it was my baby brother. So we never thought anything about it, but I did know he lived in California. Well, my cousin did Ancestry.com or something and found out they met my brother, Brian West. And it was funny because we met him, and then it's like my cousin is the one, that found him. Yeah, so we've been talking to him now, and I haven't met him yet, but my brother and sister in Las Vegas have.
Oh, how
So,
exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Find out after all these years, so much catching up to do.
Right,
Wow.
it is. But back to my parents.
Well, what was that like for you to realize you had a brother after 50 years of not knowing?
Well, it clicked because I had the picture
Okay.
and it was written. And so I had talked to him since, and I sent him a few things, because he wanted to know about his father. And sent him a few pictures, but then I told him about the baby picture I had, and I told him, or I sent him, I emailed it to him, and on the back, because of the writing, and he said, oh yeah, that's my mom's writing.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, wow, it's true that he's my brother,
Coming
but
full
it's
circle.
like, he said it's my mom's writing because I used to copy her handwriting to
Oh,
make notes in school to get out of stuff. And I
that's
said,
how it's done, folks. Copy your mom's handwriting.
yeah,
Oh, it's
No,
not.
don't do that.
but it was original. Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
yeah, how many of
authentic.
us wouldn't think to do that?
Right,
Authentic. Wow.
Not me. I did not do that.
You
Oh, you were a perfect kid.
Yeah, right, exactly. I asked my mom, I'm not sure about that.
I know
Only your
our
mother
mothers could
knows
say
for
something
sure.
different.
Yeah.
So then, anyway, my mom and dad met. So my mother's maiden name is Beverly North.
Oh.
My dad's name is Donald West. Now, when I was born, they gave me the name Donald West Jr.
Okay.
Donald L. West Jr. So I went by that. Actually, I went through high school, Donald West. And then all of a sudden, it came time for me to get my own ID or whatever. So I sent for my birth certificate, and it came back Donald North. Now, this is what I mean, and it's not because my mother and father weren't married. So I told my mom about it, and she said, oh, your grandmother must have did that. Now, then I realized, okay, I see what she did, because my mom was underage.
Yes.
So she said,
Huh.
my grandmother, and my grandmother wasn't happy about, her, I guess.
Getting married
dad.
so young.
Yeah, being
Yes.
so young. So anyway, she said, your grandmother must have changed your name on your birth certificate to North, because that's her maiden name, and my grandmother was North. And I guess she wanted me to have the North name. So that's what happened. So legally, I have to go by Donald North.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about changing it to East and West? Or
Yeah.
East, or East and
All
East and
directions.
South, I mean?
Well, Kim Kardashian has Northwest.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Oh, sure,
Oh,
yeah.
I should have went by that.
But you were the original.
Right,
You had
right.
it before she did.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my. So
Wow.
again, those of you who are just joining us now, this is the one and only Donny West. He's a performer,
Yeah.
and a recording artist, and
A
a
dear
huge
friend.
Our
inspiration.
dear friend, yes.
Yeah, to the Minneapolis St. Paul community here.
Mhm.
And would you like to talk a little bit about where you got started in entertainment, playing at the club or singing at the clubs and getting in the cabarets and things like
Oh, sure. Let's see. Boy, I'm gonna go back a long ways.
We won't say how.
Yeah.
couple of years
I was
ago.
2 when I started in Diana
Oh,
Ross's words.
snap. That is young. He popped out that way.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Ready to
ready,
go.
I'm ready for the world.
I'll
He
go
goes first.
Yeah. But let me tell you, I'll go back to when I was a baby.
Okay.
Because my mom and I talked about this a lot. She used to say when I was a baby, and of course there's a lot of women that were my influence, my aunts. My grandmother had 2 sisters, and then my mom and whoever else. But anyway, they would get me ready for bed. My nickname is Chipper, by the way. But anyway, they'd get me ready for bed, put a long nightshirt on me, and they'd all sit around the bed, and I'd be in the middle. And my mother would say, they'd all just say, "Look at Chipper dancing." And she said I would just bounce and just, so I'm thinking to myself, well, I was performing it too. You know? But
Natural.
yeah,
Came out kicking.
right. But then so then I thought about that and I said, okay, so I was a baby, I'm entertaining already, so to speak.
I'd go with it.
And then of course I went through high school, obviously, and I've always been influenced by female performers, women in my life. Even in junior high, I remember they would have the coronations for the princess and the queen. And
Yes.
I remember we had a wonderful coronation when I was in junior high school, and I used to look at all the girls coming down the aisle with their long dresses, and then they crown the queen. And I would always think to myself, I want to do that. I want to be that.
I want to be that queen
Yeah.
up there.
And then in high school, it was the same thing. The queen, in fact, I was in the queen coronation as a usher, I was an usher, me and John Levy, and we wore tuxedos. And then I
Very
suggested that we get white gloves. And he's like, oh boy, we're gonna look like a couple of femmes.
Was that
Little
the
did he-
Michael Jackson inspiration, or was
Well,
that?
no,
or
that
the-
was more the queen inspiration.
Oh, sure.
So
I see.
I wanted the white gloves because I thought I've always been very classy.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
thought with the tux, okay, we're gonna wear tuxedos, let's wear the white gloves. So
Mhm.
it wasn't really queen orientated, but
You just
and-
wanted to look good.
Right. So then I came out as an entertainer. Well, I came out first year, and then by the second year, I was entertaining in a club called the Cabaret.
Mhm.
It was a beautiful little club. It was like in the basement. You walk in, you go down these stairs, and then you walk into this room that was, to me, it was like awe-inspired.
Oh, my
Tables were all
gosh.
around the floor. The stage was a half circle.
Oh,
And then they had a
gorgeous.
I believe a red velvet curtain that would close around the stage. So we could do things, use the curtain or not. And then there was a long bar to the side. And actually my roommate at the time was a bartender there. So anyway, I got in, started performing there. And then by the second year, so after I started performing there, we would go to what we call the drag ball, which was put on by the gay 90s.
Oh, really?
They do it every year.
Yeah.
And I remember they put the queen's picture on the wall. So I'd go in and see all the past queens, and my friend Rachel was up there. She was queen, and Jackie, who ended up being my roommate, was up there, you know, with their trophy and their roses and their crown on their head. And beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
You know, these are all men that really transformed to beautiful drag queens. And then I said to myself, I'm going to be one of those queens up there on the wall. And I went to the ball. Well, the second year I went, I didn't win, but I remember congratulating the queens that won, and they were getting on the elevator at the hotel where it was held. And I said, congratulations. And then as the elevator went up, I could hear them screaming, you know, because they won. So then I said, I'm going to win that. The next year I won.
Oh my gosh, Miss
And,
Gay
yeah,
90s.
and it ended up, and I remember,
amazing.
you know, they would show films from the year of the ball.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching the film. It was on an 8mm, by the way. That's how old I am. But
No digital here.
right,
That's analog for all y'all at home, okay?
we were at the ball. So in that year, it made this. It's called well, it was a gay newspaper, and I remember the title. It said "Men from All Walks Parade in Drag Ball," and I remember the little thing they wrote about me. This year's winner, Miss Patra, is the queen, and it was a real breakthrough.
Yes.
And the reason is,
Oh.
I remember seeing the film. I was like one of 12 finalists, and I remember me in my long blue, powder blue dress and the corsage, because back then I had an escort, and he bought me a little wrist corsage. But I remember my arms just going like this because I was so nervous.
Flailing away like.
And they did the second. I know. And they did the second, well, a funnier story. Right before I was called up as the finalist,
Yeah.
I smoked then, and I was smoking a cigarette. I was talking to this guy, and then I heard my name. They said, finalist number, I don't know, 8, Miss Patra, and I took my cigarette and threw it. And I looked back, and he's going like,
Burning up over
he's
here.
like, oh, I didn't mean to throw it on him, but he's like trying to get the ashes and fire off.
Yeah, you do not mess with Donny West.
No, but so my arms just going like this. They named the second runner-up, and then I went, oh. Then they named the first runner-up, and then finally, and they said this year's queen is drag ball winner is Miss Patra.
Oh,
And I could
my
hear the
gosh.
whole room just thunderous applause. And actually, I don't know, about 50 people just rushed the stage. So they're trying to get the crown on me. And they're my friend Rachel and a lot of my friends I saw, and they're just coming up, hugging me and kissing me. And so it's like, I don't know if they were waiting for that to happen,
They
but
knew, maybe.
that's why they wrote that article.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, wow, what a rush.
yeah, it was.
What
And
a
for me
rush.
that year, because I think the prize back then was like $500. So I was like, that's a lot of money back then.
It's still a
you know.
lot now.
Yeah. But I remember I'd be at the 90s, they'd bring the trophies in and they'd set them up on the stage
Mm.
on display. And I remember going in there and just looking at that main one, the queen. And funny story. So then my picture's there.
Big
And-
picture. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's huge. Yeah, it's a big picture. And then over 35 came. And I decided, well, I'm going to run for that. And of course, I ran and won.
Which
So-
is a miracle because you're not
Yeah.
even 35 yet. So
Yeah, that's right. And then, you know, the funny thing is I had 2 pictures about it. So I had
Oh
my
my.
picture and I would always go in there and just look at it. But
And was this the time, around that time when you were doing Dazzle? I mean, I know this is your documentary.
That's
but,
a
but
performance.
Was that you there? I
Yeah.
mean, that was you there with
Mhm.
your boa and everything. And what got you into doing these sort of, is it like a burlesque show or is it technically a drag show?
it's a drag show.
Yeah.
Well, that's back then, see, and I've actually changed with this, but back then, the queens would all lip sync.
Okay.
And so you were categorized by which artist you picked, what the song was, because a lot of songs that were real popular with the drag world were like, I remember seeing a queen named Larissa Del Rey would do a lot of Nancy Wilson.
okay.
So we're going way back. But then Larissa Del Rey obviously was much older than me and from that era. And then, of course, that's why I picked Diana Ross. She had the most hits, and you know,
Yep.
she was real. She was in the Supremes during that time, and well, just leaving the Supremes maybe, but she was just the cutest on stage, and I loved the hair. I mean, I started with the old hair with over the eye, short cut, and then as she changed her hair, I would change my hair, and you know, and it's not like I was mocking her, but I wanted to do her justice, you know, like, you know, they say, you know, impression is the best form of a compliment.
Yep.
And so that's how I did it. And it was so funny too, because when I started, there was a queen named Rhonda Ross. It's funny, that's Diana's oldest daughter's name. But
Oh,
there was a
really?
queen
Yeah.
who was Caucasian.
Mhm.
And I thought she looked, so much like Diana, if Diana were Caucasian, being Caucasian, because she had the move. She was so cute. And I remember when I started to do Diana Ross, I was real nervous about letting her know that. But it turned out she took it very well. We became the best of friends. We'd always bump into each other at the Diana Ross concerts.
Yeah.
And I'd always see Rhonda. It was so fun, except recently, because I don't know what she is now. But every concert I would go to, it's like we'd be in the lobby at the same time.
Oh.
And she'd say hi. And I'd say, in fact, she stopped doing it. Actually, and just let me do it. But
Oh, that's hot. Speaking of bumping into people at Diana Ross concerts, you and I have bumped into each other once
yeah,
at the
Yeah.
Orpheum. And
Yes,
then
we did.
3 years later, we attended the concert
Yep,
together.
we went together. And
After we had the privilege to meet Rhonda Ross.
Yeah,
Wow.
the
I still
daughter
have
of,
that picture.
Yeah, Diana Ross and Berry Gordy, founder of Motown Records.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, that was very cool. It's like, if we can't meet Diana, we'll meet the next best singer.
Right.
That was a night to remember.
Yes, it was.
And Landyn was telling me that you were probably very much inspired by your mother
Mhm.
as a performer, right?
Right. Yes.
Yes.
My mother danced a short while, not very long.
At the cabarets or where?
No, she danced in different burlesque type shows, around. But there was one particular place called the Roaring Twenties, which was right above the cabaret. In fact, that's how my mom found out.
I love that story.
Yeah, it's so funny
Pay
too.
attention.
It's so funny too, because my mother had a lot of gay friends. And tranny friends, So I mean, she was very popular within the gay community. And I remember because there's one particular, I guess it would be a drag queen, who went by the name of Tammy, who would be like a hostess up at the Roaring Twenties, like to greet people, show them to their seats and stuff like that. And then on occasion, Tammy would come down and perform a place called the Noble Roman and at the cabaret. Well, anyway, Tammy also went by Tom. And when Tammy was dressed as Tom, Tammy, of course, would be in the leather, very much.
Leather daddy.
You'd never know they were the same person because Tom was very manly. Well, anyway, long story short, I remember Tom sent my mother, and he called my mom, like his mom. So, which several gay people did. But anyway, he gave her this picture. Now he's on, first of all, leather vest, leather strap down his bare chest, leather strap around his neck. I think he had a whip in his hand.
Oh, wow.
And a black, black hat. And so bikini pants. Well, anyway, he sent it, I think in a Christmas card, but anyway, I have the picture now. My mom gave it to me because she's like, I don't know why he sent me this. But anyway, and he's on a leopard. Leopard. So it's like he's cradled the leopard and he's got the whip and holding the hand and just a real suggestive pose. And he's like, to mom from Tom.
Wow. I hate that one.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, she gave me the picture. And I thought it was strange too.
That's awesome.
But when I was younger, because I knew, I remember my mom had this little tiny lady that would make a lot of her dresses and gowns. And I remember her coming over with them, the garment bags and bringing them, and my mom would try them on. And then I remember there was a guy that went by the name of Bobby. who had real long hair back in the ponytail, but I knew, even at my young age, I knew he was gay. I just knew it. And he would bring gowns. And then Bobby turned out to be transsexual. So Bobby is now, I won't say her name, but she's somebody else now. So.
Interesting.
Oh,
So after all this experience of like working professionally in the industry, and most of that was happening downtown Minneapolis, right? With the cabarets and all of this, and just being immersed and growing up in this, was there ever a moment of a realization for you as an individual personally where you were like, this is who I am, or this is who I'm becoming? And what was that experience like within your community?
You know, I never really got a lot of rejection. Even when because I dressed all the time when I was really working, you know. And then at one point I did, I thought I was going to go through the transition.
yes, you mentioned that in the documentary.
Yeah. And so I started living as female then, but I actually went to the psychiatrist and had the meeting, and you know, because back then you'd go and see a psychologist just to try to, well, number one, convince them that, and then they of course decide if you'd be a candidate for hormone treatment.
Oh, the medications.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Which I actually did get on the pills for a while. Little movies.
They dose you up with the estrogen. Is that what they do? Yeah.
But I went through all the. I mean, it was just so much I went through, and I think it was my body changing. I mean, mentally, physically,
Hot
and
flashes.
yeah. Well, oh yeah, all that.
And
But then I decided not to do it.
Really?
I knew I'd rather just be myself, and plus it kind of scared me. What you have to go through.
Yeah,
To have the surgery. And then I also knew, well, you can't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's fair. That's fair.
Speak now or forever hold your penis.
Yeah. It's like, this ain't a marriage. You can't come back from this.
I know.
Wow. And back then,
man.
it's
That's so
more
funny.
common for people to do that now. But back then it must have been, you know, when it was just starting to
Well,
come
back
out.
then, yeah, you don't know. I mean, I had a couple of friends that are doing quite well that had gone through it, but I still don't know the whole thing. But I know back. In fact, one friend I went to visit, I won't say her name, but I went to visit her in the hospital. She had the surgery in another state, and then came back here and went to the University of Minnesota Hospital. And I remember sitting there visiting her, and we were talking, and then a whole team of doctors came in and asked her if they can look at it, and she said sure. And then, I mean, and I'm watching them lift
$50 a
this
piece.
up, and they're all just looking, and you know, it's like, well, you got a vagina now, but now it's on display. You know, it's like, I don't think that's supposed to go that
This
way.
was before the social media. So
Yeah, I hope I can say that too.
We'll just bleep it out.
use your imagination.
We're not going to bleep it out.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, she's doing quite well, you know, but
Yeah.
that's part of the reason I decided no, because I thought, no, once you do it, it's done.
Yeah.
I had to make sure mentally that I would be ready for something like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
Yes. Does it ever surprise you when you look back at, you know, what you've seen in drag from where you started to how far it's come now with, you know, RuPaul's Drag Race and all these other shows? I mean, did you ever imagine that someday it would be so widely accepted?
No, but I guess I thought deep inside things could change, but I never thought they would change to this extreme. You know, back in my day, you had to hide. And also by me getting into, hope I'm not telling too much, but by me getting into the straight community, which I did when I was living that way, I would the clubs I would go to would be straight. And I know a couple of my friends would tell the story because it seemed I had no problem getting dates when I was transforming. I remember this one particular time going to this college. I got this, I don't know where I met this guy, but this college guy, real strong, muscular, started getting an interest in me. So he would pick me up. And I remember I was at my mom's house and he picked me up. And he says, or my mom just was so worried. And I remember, I think he had I want to say a Camaro, but it was a red convertible. And I remember we were leaving and my mom was out at the door and she's like, come home early. And I know she was kind of worried about me. But she never said anything, never got into, my life or my space.
Let you kind of be you.
Yeah. And then I remember, I didn't know where we were going. We went to the University of Minnesota campus somewhere. I want to say it was like Snuffy's or something. Oh, but we went there and all of his college friends, a lot of women, men, were all just hanging around us at the table. And I remember him seeming to be so proud to be out on a date with me. But I remember his friends wanting to know, well, who's your new girlfriend? So it was just like so much pressure.
Yes. Oh,
but I remember him and probably a couple of other dates I had too, where my mom witnessed and so on. But
want to make sure you were taken care of. And another interesting thing you told me before is back then you could get arrested if you were dressed in drag and did not have one piece of male clothing on. Is that correct?
And that actually started in the 60s. In the 60s, they really, drag queens and transsexuals really had it bad. And that was the case. But it flowed into the early 70s, which was when I started, because I remember a lot of my girls or friends that I hung around with would say, okay, you're going in drag tonight, make sure you have men's underwear on.
So
and I never did, because I thought if you're gonna do the whole thing. But anyway.
Rebel.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Just make sure, because you had to do things like tuck, gap, that was uncomfortable enough.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does that hurt? I've never had.
No, I remember somebody made me one, which was just a little piece of fabric, but it was thick, or not thick, but heavy. And then it just kind of went like a V. And then and then it had the straps. That went in, and you just put it on. But because I used to wear a lot of bodysuits. I was known for my bodysuits back then because Diana Ross, of course, I saw her in the round and she wore a unitard. And I thought she looked so hot in it. It was like powder blue. And of course she was skinny like me, because I had that nice skinny body then. And then I remember it going down her legs, and then I remember she had some pumps on, and I remember she was pulling people up on stage to dance with her, and I was so worried. I'm like, you're gonna pull a pervert up, I just know it. But it went good. But anyway, I started wearing, and when I first came out, the audience just went crazy when I started wearing them. And then I also did a number called Cornet Man, where I wear an actual one-piece swimsuit.
Sweet.
Yeah, so
awesome.
I was known for that.
So did you have your own costumer, or did you come up with all these wardrobe pieces yourself?
My friend David made a lot of dresses for me, and then I started sewing and making. If you look at the HBO concert with Diana Ross, she wore that big long white, it was like silver jewels and then white fur coat. And the fur went around her, and then down and had a train on it. I made that coat. And I don't know where it is now. I think I gave it away. Oh no, somebody bought it for me. That's right. But anyway, I made that coat because I copied her HBO concert. And actually, I think I put a couple of clips of it on Facebook a while back.
Fun. And speaking of drag queens, we could not forget to mention one highlight that you talk about in your book. This is Lady Patra North, Secret of My Song, story of Donny West. I believe it was 1985 at Zoogies, and you had the honor of being crowned by, at the time, before like RuPaul's up, one of the biggest well-known drag queens, cult favorite, John Waters' cult favorite, Divine.
Yes. And you know, it's funny because they came up with it. Zoogies really had only been open, and it was a fun place too. But anyway, it had only been open about a year, and they were going to have a big party type show. They're going to crown a king and queen, or not a king and queen, an emperor and empress of Zoogies. So it was to be Divine coming in as the entertainment. And while they had her there as the entertainment, they were going to have her crown.
Wow.
So I found out about that right away. I hit the sewing machine and I got this satin fabric that is so hard to work with. But I came up with it, and I wanted a tight dress. So I did a tight dress with a very small train. And back then, headbands are in. Diana Ross sang the anthem, and she had a headband on. So I decided to take some of the fabric and make a headband.
Okay.
So I did. It looked really good, really cool. But anyway, I remember that night because first of all, Divine came out and did a beautiful show because was so funny back then. So they had this big ring with white paper, and of course, that Divine made the entrance, and she just burst through, and to see somebody so big, she just burst through the paper, and I was like, I was starstruck. And then I'm like, oh, and she had of course, her blonde wig on, and then she sang because she had a couple of CDs out then. So she sang her hits, and then the contest started. And I remember going up, and again, I think there were like 5 finalists, and we're standing there, and my friend Monique had these real long nails on, and I remember Divine made a comment about them. Where did you get those long nails or something? And we were scared because before they met with us backstage, and they said, now Divine does this and that, and she may do something, but don't take serious. And then all of a sudden, so then we're up there with her. And then I remember her talking about Monique's nails, and then she kind of just looked at me and then got the envelope and started. She didn't say anything. I don't know. She just has, And of course, then they crowned me, and they crowned the emperor first, and then they crowned me. And I remember because I wanted to take a picture with Divine, but then they rushed us off to the lobby to take, because they gave us actual red robes with the white fur, I guess.
Wow.
Fur, with the trim, and they gave us these crowns. And then, because I got the silver cup still.
Okay,
So
and you still have the robe and the crown, or?
No, they took that back.
Okay,
but they took pictures of us, and I never saw the pictures.
Oh,
that
would be so fun to see those long pictures like that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And then, but so because of that, I missed getting a picture with Divine because they whisked her off, You
probably rather have had the picture with her.
Because I think she was already, they were talking about how Divine a lot of times would appear places and they'd have her in a cage, that they didn't like that part because, it just made her feel, like an animal. But
sure.
Part of her act, I don't know, it was something to do with that. But I do remember her sitting, because I believe Zoogies had the dancers would dance in the cages.
Okay. Oh, wow.
But so.
Interesting.
But that was fun. Yeah.
Yes, and that was just Zoogies you were the one reigning Zoogies Empress.
Yes, I never got to go back and crown a new one.
Yeah, because that was it. They were only open shortly for a little while longer after that, right?
Because it's like even up the 90s, I went back both times actually to crown the new queen. And I remember it was so much fun that year. I went back because my sister and her best girlfriend were with us, and my ex. And I remember my sister said that was the best time she ever had. Just being.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
So, Donny,
Oh.
when did you switch from, it seems to me, after just going through your documentary and your book, and
Mhm.
it seems that you started mostly doing these shows in cabarets, and then eventually you kind of transformed into more of a recording artist.
Mhm.
When did that happen for you? And
Well,
when
it
did
actually,
you record this first? This is your first, right?
this is
first.
my second.
Oh, this is your second. Okay, well,
Mhm.
this is on Spotify, and I've listened to it a few times, so that's Donny right there. But
Mhm.
when did you
Yes.
start becoming a recording artist?
Well, actually, it was after, because halfway through my drag career, I started, we would always lip sync
Mhm.
throughout my drag career. And then I decided to start singing live. So I started singing live songs. I would use like karaoke
Mhm.
soundtracks for most of them. And then I started singing live then. And that was just probably just the last few years while I was doing drag. And then in between that, I probably came back a couple of times to do a show here and there, especially at Pride. I would perform quite often there. And in fact, during my live, I remember doing live at Pride a couple of times in the park. And then several shows. I got some of it on tape and disc. But so I say about, I don't know, 5 years or so. So I was doing drag live. And then I decided, you know what? And I met Tim Alexander, rest in peace. But yeah, I met Tim Alexander and we just started talking about music. And I told him, because originally I had written a song and I was going to send it to Diana Ross. I hired this guy to do write some music for me for it. And he never completed it. So then I met Tim, we started talking about finishing the song, and he looked at the sheet music I had for it, and he's like, oh, well, let's see if we can get this composed, but we might have to rewrite it. And we never got around to it because then he said, meanwhile, we got some music and we'd like some lyrics put to it.
Oh.
And then me and Tim started talking. We decided, okay, well then let's do it. And that henceforth, that's when I came up with my first CD.
And this was the first CD. Okay.
Yeah. And you see, it's
Dear
only
Lover.
has 6 songs on it because I was so anxious to get it out.
Oh, look at you on the back there. Shit, I flipped it over for him, Landon. Look at that. I love your suit.
Oh, thank you. I still have it.
Very
That's
classy,
fantastic.
very dapper.
Yeah,
Yes.
very cool. And then the color with the black and white is
Yep.
really, really stunning too.
Yeah.
The flowers, the red roses. I love that contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And what year
turned out
was
great.
this when this came out again? Did you say?
Did you see it?
04 maybe?
04?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
That
there,
sounds
yes.
about right.
Um,
And it's like, yeah, we got that out right away. And then I had so much doing this, I thought, okay, let's do another. And
another
so
one
we were
which
able
is
to.
I'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
And I had the honor of writing a little blurb
That's right.
on the liner notes
Yep.
for
Yeah.
this. So
So we met probably shortly before I recorded
yes, on the set of the Josh Hartnett produced film
that.
Nobody,
Yes.
directed by Rob Perez in June 2008. And I spent 5 long days on that set. And on the very last day at the gym, I had, been kind of exploring artists in the community, and I think I saw you on the Wazoo show.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Which I
with
was
Timothy
surprised.
Mikey, and yes,
Yeah.
and you were sitting there all by yourself in, the what they would call the green room, but it was
Yeah.
actually a gymnasium
Right.
above the Bolt underground nightclub off at Washington in downtown Minneapolis. And I went up and started talking to you, and we just hit it off. It was like an instantaneous friendship, and that was over 13 years ago.
Yes.
And
It was like we knew each other before that too.
Yes.
because Being both actors.
yes, it was just amazing because I was just starting my career, and we actually got placed, I think, next to each other, or one person apart in the
Yeah.
trailer and for the scene
Yeah.
in the underground Bolt nightclub. And we've done 15 to 20 projects
Oh, wow.
over the decade and a half since then.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Serious.
yes, we got one of the projects that I helped on. Aside from, we were in the documentary, I had a little thing in there, but you wrote and produced
Mhm.
a wonderful little horror movie called On the Way Down in 2011.
That probably shocked a lot of people too.
Oh, yeah.
On the way down. Well, it shocked me. I watched it last night. I was like, holy damn. I was not
Yeah.
expecting that.
Yeah, do you want to
In the
tell us?
best way.
Exactly, I love it. Do you want to tell us how it came about?
Oh, wow. I always, I'm a horror freak because I love horror movies.
Me
I
too.
love the excitement. I love the thrill.
Who's gonna get it next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I happened to tell James Vogel, who we worked with a couple of times,
Dear lovely of the city, yep.
that I wanted to do a horror movie. So we actually sat down and began to write a script. And then I decided, well, okay, I'm going to go on and invest in it and let's do it. And so that's basically how it came up. And then the rest is history.
Yep. Awesome. And I know you also sang on my Christmas album.
And that was fun too. I liked
Yes, thank you. I love it. Wow. And yes, speaking of your music, one of my favorite songs
Oh.
of yours that I had the honor of appearing with you in your music video
Yes.
was Sissy Boys.
Yes.
And yes, can you tell us how that came about?
Well, actually, Tim Alexander had some music, and they wanted to put lyrics to it. And I had the lyrics to Sissy Boys already written, and I decided, well, why not? Why don't we try Sissy Boys lyrics with your music? And it just, and by the time I started doing the little background, sounds, yeah,
Hey, beep, beep.
and all the different stuff. Yep. And we started putting it together. And the funny thing is, my band at the time, we would listen to playback after playback, and this began to be one of their favorite songs. And I don't know if it was the lyrics or if it was the music, but I'm thinking it might be more of the lyrics because I do all this funny stuff in the background.
Oh,
But it's groovy too, like the groove of the song. It's kind of swanky. It's got like that electric guitar, and it's very kind of like funky, sort of like wah pedal, like
Yeah.
And it's
And
cool.
that was their style. I mean, they loved doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, I remember we were filming the music video. Someone thought you were Janet Jackson.
I know. Are you the one that the lady asked if that was
I
Janet
think
Jackson?
so. Yes.
And I think about that because, well, obviously that was the suit that I had on. It was the long white jacket, with the pants, and then I was wearing the white boots that had heels like that. But I also had the wig, the long wig, and then my white hat. So I could see Janet Jackson, dressing like that back then.
And Mr. Chris Durant filmed the music video for that. And yes.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job,
Yes,
He's
that was such a fun day.
I mean, just the whole, because I didn't know how this was going to come together. And just the fact that he had me get on the train, I'm like, okay, I'm getting on a train. Why? So I get on the train in a white suit, but then he takes me, gets me in drag, and then takes me back to the train. And then he says, okay, now come off the train.
Yeah.
So when you see it in the video, I see what he was meant to do.
Sure.
And then you had a stalker, who could that be?
Yeah, you did a good job.
And that marks the last time you worked with our dear friends who are sadly no longer with us. Josie Zathmiri and Lucas Westby from the show So Gay, which was another fun, even though we weren't in any series episodes together, it was a very fun
But the
show.
music video.
Yes,
we
oh,
had
I was gonna
fun
say,
making
yeah,
that.
because Landyn was in your
Yeah.
YouTube video for Sissy Boys,
Yeah,
right?
and there's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
one for the song "So Gay" that has no, it's just like a dance. No, it just says "So Gay" and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was also by Chris Durant. He was
Yeah.
involved with that. But we had a beautiful premiere at the Suburban World
Oh,
Theater.
I love that.
That
Was
fun.
and that's the first time I saw myself, and I'm sure you too, on such a big screen.
Yes.
And I remember when my part came up, I have to brag about this because I was shocked even. I remember, because my opening scene was putting on the lipstick when
Yes.
they come in and I'm smacking my lips. And I remember that came up, and then I remember the audience going, woo!
Yes.
And that just made me feel kind of good. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, they are paying attention.
Oh yes, and you also both performed as I'm coming out.
Yes, yes.
At the end
Yes, I
of,
performed there.
of that show.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing event.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
And so did you ask Landyn then to be a part of your music video for Sissy Boys? And then also, what did you think when Landyn approached you with doing a remake of that song?
Oh, first of all, I was honored, flattered, and I thought, oh, somebody wants to sing one of my songs. I mean, that's just a big honor to me. Some artists might be like, no, don't sing my song, it's mine. But no, I took it like, oh, I'm flattered, It's the same thing. Impression is the biggest form of a compliment. Not that you're impersonating me, but you're doing a song that I recorded, and then you're including me in
Yes.
it too, which, you don't see a lot of that either. So, no, I'm just ecstatic.
well, I am ecstatic and honored that you blessed me to
No.
trust me to carry the torch. So
No, one thing I can say about Landyn is he's very giving. A lot of the projects that I have gotten, just so the audience will understand, Landyn has got them for me. So the very first thing I can remember that hasn't been, I don't know if I can talk about it, but what was the mountain one?
Night on Has Been Mountain.
Yeah, Night on
yes.
Has Been Mountain. You got
Yes.
me that part.
That was fun.
You
We filmed it, but yes.
Yeah. So my point is everything, not everything, but several things that I have been included in is because of Landyn, where, I got performers in my own family that will not tell me about any projects or anything that they may have because they want to make sure they get all the glory. So
okay.
it's not, and it's like even other performers, it's the same thing. If there's a chance for them to let somebody else know that there's a part available, or might say, hey, there's this show coming up and I think you'd be good in this part. Why don't you audition?
Yeah.
They won't give it. They'll first try to get it themselves.
Oh, I
You see what I mean?
It's cutthroat. It's a
Yeah,
cutthroat
very
business.
cutthroat, yeah. And my whole career, I've been through that, so
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
But it's just love and friendship
Yeah.
and helping, someone helping a dear friend out, like,
Yeah.
like, oh, you'd be perfect for this. Like,
Yeah.
um,
And that's the giving part, because you think of others
well, thank
before.
you.
So you're not a selfish person, and that's good because a lot of actors can be selfish.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. You heard it here
Yeah.
first.
I'd like to deny that comment. I don't know how I feel. No, I'm just kidding. I love Landyn. He's
Yeah.
and we were so honored to have you, Donny, to come
Oh,
into the
thank you.
studio with us at F5 Soundhouse.
Yeah. Thank you.
To work with Owen Sartori and
Yes,
Davide Rasso and the whole team there. I mean, you came in and I think we got your vocal track done in like a half hour or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm known to get. I'm the one take one.
Yeah. You just came in, we were like, oh damn.
I know. I was like, we're like, the song needs a little something. And I've heard it like the first mix, and then they're actually mastering the song. So we're hoping in the next couple months we will have the new song out there.
Yeah.
So Sissy Boys with me and featuring
Yeah.
Donny West on it. So we're very excited. We're talking, getting plans for music video. So, whew,
Ooh, that'd
busy.
be fun too.
Yes.
I love it.
AKA Sassy Pants.
Or you can call me Fancy Pants.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh man. Well, Donny, I think we're probably about ready to wrap up, but I wanted to just ask one last question, if that's okay.
Okay.
So with like your knowledge of going through this whole arts entertainment world and finding your spirituality, I guess we never really discussed that, but just talk a little bit on your spiritual awakening, and then also in relation to where you feel like as an artist and as a human in our world today, are there any topics you want to discuss? Or
Oh boy, well that's a
It's a
story
very-
in
yeah,
itself.
yeah.
I'd be glad to share it.
Yeah.
I want to say in the mid 80s, first of all, I've always been Christian. I've always accepted God in my life and Jesus as my savior. Back in the 80s, I'm going back there because I had a reawakening, and I decided that, in fact, my friend Terry knows what I'm talking about, because I had to sit down with him. We were like a family, and it was 4 of us that lived together. I had to sit down with them and tell them that in my spirit, I just feel that I needed to go back to the church. So that's where I took that break. But it's not like I left the entertainment world. It's not, because even in church, I was in plays, and I was in the Passion Play. I played the blind man. and I was in the gospel according to Scrooge. I played Scrooge's valet, and then we did another musical called Let Me Live, where I played Donny, the tap dancer. And I do have that on tape if you want to see it sometime. But it was taken from the balcony, because my church used to be the old State Theater, or the State Theater.
Oh, really?
And then, it was Jesus People Church. So we had that beautiful stage, and it seated 2,500. So when we do plays and musicals, other churches would be invited, and we'd fill up the place, But anyway, I had sat down with my roommates at the time, and I just told them I just needed to get back, take a break. That's all. I just needed to step back, take a break, and reevaluate my relationship with God. So I started going to church there, and in fact, my roommates at the time, they were so cute, because they were just like, they came to church with me one Sunday, I guess, to see, because I know they were a little confused about my decision. It's like,
What's going
the
on
family's
here?
splitting up. The point is, we never split up. We were still friends. But I know that had went around the whole community that they thought I was leaving. So I went back to church, and then I actually got established in church, and then I started doing shows and still going to church. So I got my head together, and I knew that, well, number one, whatever's on my heart, I know that God puts it there. And I needed to make sure that I follow my heart. Entertainment was my life. And so I came back to the townhouse, bless Holly, because she just backed me in so many ways. My first one-person show, well, it wasn't one person, I had backup dancers and stuff, but that show was done in 70, I want to say 77, 78, 79, somewhere in there. And Holly supported the whole thing. I mean, the staff, she rented tuxedos for them.
I've seen the pictures.
I had 2 bodyguards, 2 ladies, Mary and I forget the other one's name, but they had tuxes on, where they had the tuxedo shirts and pants. And I remember calling Holly up to the stage, and you remember this, Holly. And I was going to introduce her, and here she comes with a big bouquet of flowers, just showing me love, And then her staff had black tuxes on, and she had a gray tux on. And it was just the show looked like Hollywood. It was just so really
That was
nice.
divine.
Yeah, and I made a ton of money. But anyway, so back at the church, I came back to the townhouse with another one-person show. And Holly got me all set up, and I want to say that was 89. And it was a success. It was a good show. And I remember my roommate at the time, he says, because we had a friend, Elise, and this other guy. And I remember I didn't want him to know that I was doing this show, but of course I had the show videotaped, right?
Oh,
Sure.
He found the videotape and he said, "You did a show." And then he said, "And you took Elise," because Elise was one of my backup singers, performers. And so it's like, oh, well, yeah, I did a show. And then, of course, ever since then, every show I did, he was there. So, but that was part of the reason. It was just a matter of me just clearing my head, clearing my heart, and just getting reestablished. Once I got reestablished, entertaining is always going to be a part of me because I do. Number one, I didn't talk about it, but I get a rush, a good rush when I'm on stage. I get past the butterflies, and then once I'm out there, it's like it's me and the audience. We're one, and I just can't see myself not doing this. So.
You kind of, in your documentary, you mentioned when you put on the makeup, it becomes the mask.
That's
and
right.
It allows you to become transformed into this character, into this person.
Anything I want to be, not only Diana Ross I've impersonated, Halloween parties, and anywhere I perform, I've done Little Richard. I've actually done Michael Jackson.
Yes. You looked a lot like him too. That
Yeah.
picture you have downstairs. Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so many. Tina Turner, one Halloween, it was at my house, but I did a lot of Tina Turner.
Did you ever do Grace Jones?
No, my friend Cleo, God rest his soul. In fact, my one-man show that I did in '79, Cleo was my warm-up act. Because I did it just like a concert. So Cleo came out as Grace Jones.
Oh, wow.
I got the footage back from Astound Video.
Oh.
We are so pretty.
Yes.
The picture is just so clear because I found the original. Get this, beta tape.
Wow.
So I took it to Astound and had it put on disc.
Thank goodness.
Got it.
But I look at, in fact, I'm still viewing it because I pop a little something on Facebook once in a while. But there's some footage of Cleo that is so, in fact, I'm thinking about posting it. That is so, I just look back at that time, her makeup is just perfect, and the colors, because it's such a clear picture. And then, nobody could do Grace Jones like Cleo.
Yeah.
Wow. It's such a wonderful memory. So yeah, I am gonna post some of that because Cleo was phenomenal performer, and people would always mix us up because my name's Patra and she's Cleo. And so I've been called Cleo, and I'm sure Cleo's been called Patra.
So funny.
Oh.
So Donny, what was it like going through the pandemic and everything that's happened within the last year and a half? Socially, worldwide. You don't have to touch on whatever you'd like, but I'm curious what you thought.
My first thought is, once I found out there was a pandemic, instantly Donny, my partner, and I just decided to do all the precautions that we need to do. So in fact, I haven't had a kiss in a while, but we do the elbow bump. But anyway, I'm probably telling too much.
It's never too much on here.
We'll just cut it out and post.
That you can't.
Yeah.
But no, we because number one, we always had a house full of people. My family,
Parties.
his family. I mean, I remember one year his family came, his sister, her two daughters, and then their kids, and the one daughter's boyfriend at the time, so, and we can put people up, we have 5 bedrooms, so we could put people up. So I remember them coming here several times, and I remember my family's members, cousins and stuff would come, and usually they couldn't come 1 or 2, it's usually 5 or 7, it's like, because everybody's got kids now, and
kids, grandkids.
and a group of like my cousins, like 3 sisters might come, But anyway, we thought of that, so we knew then that we would have to cut back on seeing even our family that live here personally. So in fact, my brother, sister, different people that would stop by, we would just come outside. And we hated that because number one, we're used to having family over. I know my sister's been over a couple of times, and we use the precautions, I have a deck, so she sets out, we sit out on the deck and visit. But then there's a time when they have to come in and go to the bathroom and stuff. So usually we try to have it set up, so like not have our personal towels there, but have like the paper towels or something, or just give them their own towel, But other than that, then they of course masked up when it came in. But other than that, and then it's got to just be me and Donnie and the dog, and to keep ourselves entertained, we took it like vacation. So we rent a lot of movies. Trust me, we rent a lot of movies from Facebook, or not Facebook, Netflix, from Redbox, we're fun. And then, Donnie worked for cable, so we still have a few free cable channels, to watch things. But other than that, but I will say, and this is no harm to Donnie, sometimes you get tired of seeing each other too. And it's like,
if you made it through this pandemic alive,
I'm surprised,
and with your spouse,
I'm surprised.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, because the simple things that they do every day,
Yep.
all of a sudden begin to bug you.
You heard it here first.
You're like, must you breathe?
Don't bug Lady
Stop.
Pasta. Don't piss her off.
But I do. I take advantage of it sometimes to say, okay, you got to take care of me now. We're in a pandemic. Get me a glass of water.
Oh my gosh. And now, I hope you don't mind me asking this question, but I feel like because you are so a part of the culture of the Twin Cities and here in this time, and also your knowledge of all the past, do you have an opinion or an idea of, like as an artist, what you would like to say to the world about kind of what's happening here with civil unrest, with,
Well, one thing I can say, when I watch the news, and I literally cry when I see babies getting killed, when I see everything that's going on over in Iraq,
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. It's like, it's still human beings, and of course, all the shootings, the police shootings, all of that, because during the pandemic, that's the kind of news that we're seeing, and I know if my words have any power at all, or if somebody just says, okay, I need to listen to what he's saying, first of all, I don't have any kids, but God has blessed so many people with these beautiful babies, and even kids that are coming up, you have kids, you're supposed to take care of them. But it doesn't have to be somebody that doesn't have kids, or somebody, your kids are not theirs, obviously, but they come in and they invade your space, kill your kids, or some parents have killed their own kids, mental problem, whatever it is, just get the help you need. I have family members who don't believe in the vaccine, for one. I've talked till I'm just tired of talking, because first of all, it's based on lies, the reasons they won't get it. And, you know, even though I know, or I feel I know the truth, I see that a lot of their reasoning behind not getting the vaccine is just not true. And you cannot force a person, you know, to do it, but just try to get them to listen. You know, number one, we're not going to know the truth about everything. We're not going to know everything, but the common sense stuff, you know, make sure that you at least try to take it in. You know, don't come up with your own thoughts or own reasoning behind something. You know, leave it to the professionals and really follow, you know, their advice, because number one, it's going to save your life. And number two, you're going to be here. One of the people in my family is a female, and I told her, and you know, get the vaccine, because otherwise you're not going to be here for your children. You're not going to be here for your family, you know. And of course, her reaction to me was, well, if it's my time, it's my time. You know, don't give up like that, you know, because look at, I know you guys have seen the people on the news and different reports that didn't get the vaccine, and then they're saying, boy, I should have got it. And they're lying there with tubes in them, and a few have not even survived, you know. So when you see that kind of stuff, that should be enough. You know, as far as anything else, the unrest especially, you know, we as human beings, we tend to be fighters, but a lot of it is for the wrong reason. Because if people, number one, and I'm not trying to separate anybody, but number one, if people read the Bible, they will know that God is love. So there's no place in a Christian's life for violence, killing, shooting, you know, stealing, you know, all those stuff. Number one, it's all in the 10 Commandments. But number two, we show our example by being good to people, loving people, you know. So a lot of people that don't, and I know sometimes people say, oh, that's the devil, you know, that person shot that person, that's nothing but the devil. Don't try to figure out who it is, just know what you're doing and do the right thing, you know, which is all good things come from above. So, you know, you just got to do good for people, you know. But even if you love somebody, you know, and you see that they're out there suffering in any kind of way, be it mentally, physically, or whatever, or out crazy, raping people, killing people, you know, it's up to us to also try to get them the help that they need. Because a lot of it is just craziness, you know.
What was, now I'm asking you a lot of hard, controversial questions, and I appreciate your honesty about it.
Okay, sure.
What was your observation to, you know, what happened here in the Twin Cities this last year? And we were the center of the whole world with the George Floyd and the Dante Wright cases, and so many others. And I just recently went to visit 2 weeks ago with my family the site of George Floyd.
Oh, okay.
And it was just so humbling, I guess, and eye-opening. And I remember feeling sadness and anger, and I was just curious what you thought.
Well, first of all, I grew up, 15, we moved to Minneapolis. Our house was 3 blocks from where that happened. We lived at 3924 10th Avenue. And so I went to West High on 28th and Hennepin. I take the Chicago bus to Lake Street and over. And my sisters and brothers went to Central with Prince. And but yeah, first of all, I saw that, and that's the first thought I had. That's my old neighborhood, which was very peaceful, and I'm sure it was still peaceful until this happened. But it just goes back to how we treat each other. And, I mean, the cops are getting a bad rap right now because they've done so much. Not all of them, but those that have shot so many people of color. You see stuff like you saw the George Floyd situation on video or on TV, so you see it and it all looks, most of it looks bad. You see them taking the black man, 3 or 4 cops on him, and doing whatever, choking them or, in some cases shooting them. The thing is, many of our cops around the world have a bad rap to begin with. People don't trust them. A lot of people don't trust them. But then that leads not only from the cops, but it leads to what happened in Washington with the Capitol, and it's a different group of people. It's the white supremacists, the Republicans, Democrats don't do that. No, I'm just kidding. Not political here. But anyway, everything that's happening in such a negative way, it's affecting everybody.
Mhm.
And it's affecting, some families have kids that are on the wrong side of the law, and it's such a broad spectrum too. That, everybody don't think the same. So, obviously, everybody's not going to think like me. Everybody has in their mind the way this world should operate. And then it clashes. So obviously, you got certain people of color, or not of color, but certain people that think people of color don't belong in their neighborhood or don't belong to walk on the same side of the street. It's like, where do we get this idea that our way is the right way, and the other guy's way is the wrong way? Well, I know, obviously, first of all, it's the upbringing, the way people are brought up. We didn't know. I was a kid, and my friend down the street was a Caucasian guy, white guy. And, you think about it, kids don't see color.
Yep.
And even my sisters, they had Caucasian little friends, but the thing is, we were still in a Black neighborhood.
Sure,
But
sure.
this was a Caucasian family, or maybe a couple, that just were brave enough to move into a neighborhood and let their kids play with each other. But a lot of cases, the adults would be like, get away from that Black kid, get away from that white kid, because it's learned from your ancestors.
Learned behavior.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a powerful line from a song. We're born to love, but we're taught to hate.
And
And that was speaking to my heart when you were saying that.
Yeah.
Because the
And
little
it's true.
kids don't see color.
No,
They say, oh, there's a friend I can play with and have a good time.
Yeah.
And it's the hierarchy that's like, no, like you said, get
Yeah.
away,
Yeah.
So.
I remember in high school, I can't say her name, but I had a friend, a female friend, because I had lots of female friends, but we always hung around together. Well, I had a female friend that she didn't see color. And I remember, for some reason, I was gonna spend the night. And so we were upstairs. But for some reason, she snuck me in her house. And I remember her being downstairs talking to her mother, and I can hear her mother saying, get away from that Black guy. Get that Black guy out of my house. And she's like, oh, that's my friend, because she was rebellious. And I remember, because I was just like up there, just listening, thinking, oh gosh, I better get out of here. She might try to get me in my sleep.
Oh, no. Oh.
And then on Lindell, another white friend I had, girlfriend, I remember, and I can't say her name either, because then it would be out there. But I remember her family lived in a funeral home. And I didn't know it was a funeral home. We went in the back. So there's like the garage, but here's this big sign in the front yard. It used to be on Lindale.
Yeah, I know. We do
And-
remind- yep.
And I said, oh, no, we went in the back way and went up the stairs, and the family was up there in the kitchen area and stuff. And I remember her mother saying, oh, did you show Don the downstairs? And I remember going downstairs. She flips on the lights and it's a funeral home. And yeah, I mean, and she said when they're kids, they used to play down there all the time. I'm like, oh, you guys are weird. But, but I remember, yeah, it was like, I think I saw a casket or something. I know the chairs, and then the area where the casket would go with the
Oh,
big tall floor lamps. And
oh,
it
yeah.
just looked weird to me, and it had that smell. I was like, okay.
Get me
I'm
out of here.
Dead bodies. Yeah, there's dead bodies in here. I just know it somewhere in the rafters.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow. Well, Donny, thank you so much
Yes.
for being a part of our podcast, the Artist Journey
Yes,
podcast. Thank
this
you for
has
sharing your
been-
life. And
Yeah.
An amazing time. I just have one more last quick question.
Okay.
In your wonderful career, you've done books, you've done movies, you've done music. What's next for Donny West? What would you like to see to still do that you haven't done yet?
I'm gonna be somebody else.
Oh!
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
wait, Donny,
You
wasn't
don't
that your
even know
whole
you
career?
You know, I'm actually open to just about everything. You know, I would love to do film, another movie. Horror, I still like to take a stab at it, but more of the original type. Yeah, get it stabbed. But more of the original type horror movies, back to, you know, like Halloween.
Yes.
You know, and or I do a love story too. I mean, I do just about anything because I love filming. I love the excitement of being on set,
Yes.
getting different makeup, costumes to be, you know, really to become somebody else. Recording, maybe. I still want to do a Christmas album
Oh,
because
please.
that's what we do.
Yes.
But yeah, I am still, that pops in my mind quite often actually. So I think I better do it before I get gray hair.
maybe a Donny West, Landyn Banx dual Christmas album or
I
something.
like
Never
that.
know.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Never know.
For all-
Wow.
Well, Landon's got one up on, he's got 2 actually Christmas albums and the little DVD. I love that.
Oh, thank you, and stay tuned for a new version of Sissy Boys coming your way
Yes.
soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep you posted, and it'll be a while, but trust me, it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well,
Right.
thank you guys for
Thank
having me.
you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
This was
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you once
Thank you
again.
so much.
This was Donny West, performer and recording artist, co-host Landyn Banx, also a performer and recording artist, and then myself, your host, Elliott Graber. And thank you so much for joining us again on the Artist Journey podcast. And a special thank you again to Donny
Oh,
West
thank
for
you,
coming.
Donny.
So, all right, guys, we'll check you next
All right,
time. Thanks so
bye-bye.
much for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Oh, and there goes
Be
everything.
kind,
Be-
love one another. Peace.
Unless you can't stand each other in the middle of the pandemic and you have to just murder someone fast, right? Just kidding.
Thanks for watching, bye
You
guys.
got the claws.
Yeah, that's right. You got the claws.
We should probably take a picture here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
let's do it. Let's do it.
I'll take one with my phone. I
Oh.
see mine went off, didn't it?
Oh, that was great.
That was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys had good questions too.
Oh, thank you, my friend. That was amazing. Wow.
Oh, see, one of my cousins,
Uh-huh.
Sophie, just said the guy who died of COVID is Florenstein's grandson. That's my other cousin, Florenstein. That's my Uncle Red's
Oh.
daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did he die? I just read an article last night on a 36-year-old died in Alabama of COVID, his father.
Oh, could be. I don't know.
Okay,
But
wow.
see, that's the other thing I was talking to my brother about. My brother, I just found out was my brother.
Uh-huh.
He said he was so scared to date people because our family's so big. He
Yeah.
was so scared to date people because they might be his cousin. I said, I know, I get that all because we obviously